Victor Lundy is an artist best known for his modernist architectural work. However, his sketchbooks recording his experiences fighting in the 26th Infantry Division in World War II are a more obscure aspect of his career. These sketches capture the truth of life on the front lines more elegantly and accurately than a camera. They serve as a journal, detailing his journey from eager architecture student, excited to travel the world, to exhausted soldier, processing his wartime experiences through art. Lundy was studying at the NYU School of Architecture when he enlisted at 19 years old. He was assigned to the Army Specialized Training Program, or ASTP, which intended to train engineers to repair European buildings from the devastation of World War II. Lundy and other ASTP members were sent to colleges across the United States to complete their engineering education.
And then the unthinkable happened. It became obvious to the generals in Washington that we were going to suffer enormous losses in the invasion of Europe. And then just overnight, I still remember that winter, they just absolutely disbanded the ASTP program, and all of us ended up in the infantry.
Lundy and his ASTP peers joined the 26th Infantry Division early 1944. Shortly thereafter, Lundy started his first sketchbook. It was a 3x5 loose-leaf sketchbook, the size of an index card, and he kept it in his breast pocket throughout his travels. By the end of the war, Lundy would complete 27 of these sketchbooks, but only 8 survived to this day.
What was interesting, and is probably apparent in the sketchbooks, almost none of us really believed that we were going to end up in combat in World War II.
His early sketches showed the lives of soldiers training in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. In the midst of 10-mile forced marches, Lundy would pass his 10-minute breaks creating portraits and figure drawings of his brothers in arms. These sketches are loose and gestural, a departure from the meticulous technical drawings that would characterize his later career as an architect. He explained in interviews that he and the other soldiers expected to be on guard duty overseas, not fighting on the front lines. These early sketches capture the men in good spirits, unaware of the fate that would soon befall them.
They're at rest because, when you're on a forced march, there's no way I can draw. So the other guys would be snoozing, I'd be, sketching.
Despite their stylization, Lundy's sketches captured the reality of fighting on the front lines. They began with youthful naivete, depicting the young men snoozing through lectures on first aid and bombs. There are sketches of the men playing craps at night and resting in hammocks after long days of training. Several of the drawings were even titled Home. There's a notable ease in their expressions, as they felt assured that they'd never see combat. These works are clearly drawn from observation, but the line quality and precision show that the soldiers' busy lives had moments of stillness. Unfortunately for them all, these calmer days wouldn't last. In late August 1944, the men departed from Fort Jackson and sailed out to Cherbourg, France. Their end goal was to join General George Patton's Third Army in Kinniby. General Patton wanted the new troops to visit the D-Day beaches to familiarize them with German weapons and tactics before they entered combat. Lundy confessed that during their journey through the French countryside, there was a lot of sightseeing and flirting with French girls. However, once the men reached Kinniby, the reality of war began to sink in. Lundy's 7th sketchbook, after numerous drawings of beautiful French architecture, captures a horrifying remnant of war, the Atlantic Wall.
And that was the beach that was supposed to have been cleared of, dangerous things so we could really experience what camouflaged German gun positions looked like, what the beaches looked like when Americans stormed them, barbed wire entanglements, and so on. I was always interested in drawing, so I went up on a high rise which overlooked the ocean. You can see convoy ships in the distance, sketching away, and then suddenly I hear some pop noises, not very loud, and in the distance, after an interval of about 5 minutes, more popping, and what had happened was that some young GIs didn't pay attention to a sign which says, "Do not step over." They stepped over it. 6 men from L Company were killed in that event. 6 more jumped in to help them, and it was just a mess. That was our first experience, and we knew we were at war.
For several of these men, these drawings would be the only surviving records of their lives.
Finney Towery,
There
yeah,
he
he's
is.
the guy. I really was intrigued by him. I think he was a sharpshooter, very good at that, but he was killed. I remember he used to sing, in the pines, where the sun never shines, where the cold wind blows, shiver, shiver. Oh, this guy Herndon. Boy, I remember what happened to him. You know, one thing, you never know how guys would react to actual combat, and no one ever made fun of someone who couldn't handle it. And this guy Herndon, after about a week of it, he was just twitching and shaking, so he was pulled out. Staff Sergeant Mussey, he really liked me. He thought I was a real live one. In our first attack and combat, Staff Sergeant Mussey, who I expected to take care of me, was wounded within like 10 minutes. All the little toes were shot off on his one foot, and the last I saw, he was being carted away, furious about what had happened.
From that moment on, the 26th Infantry Division engaged in brutal combat with the Germans occupying France. Many of the soldiers Lundy sketched were lost, including the ladies' man pictured in this sketch. The men had been taking cover inside a stone house, which collapsed on top of them when a German tank opened fire. Lundy and his allies regrouped and retreated to a cellar with French civilians. Lundy was at the rear, directing the men to safety, when a German Tiger tank descended upon them. The tank aimed its 80mm gun and fired directly at the cellar. Lundy slammed the cast iron door closed, but the shell tore through, destroying his left hand and peppering him with shrapnel that wounded his lung. His quick action had saved the other occupants of the cellar, but Lundy's injuries took him off the front lines.
It's not I almost died. I died like 3 times. If you look on the back of sketchbook 8, and you're going to see a dark spot, this is a little morbid, but that dark spot is my blood. I mean, I had that in my pocket.
Lundy was transported to England for medical treatment. His injuries were severe: a fractured elbow, 1 inch missing from his middle finger, and a partially severed thumb. Fortunately for him, he entered the practice of the acclaimed orthopedic surgeon Humpar Kalikian. Dr. Kalikian was best known for the 7 reconstructive surgeries he performed on U.S. Senator Bob Dole, restoring partial function to a limb that was set to be amputated. While undergoing examination, the sketchbook in Lundy's breast pocket caught the doctor's eye. Impressed by what he saw, Dr. Kalikian recruited Lundy to do medical sketches for the surgeries he was pioneering.
And he, in a way, probably saved my life because he kept me there. I mean, at that time, they were sending guys back, and he made sure that I shipped out after about 3 months to Walter Reed Hospital, where it took 8 months to patch me up.
Lundy's experience in war served as the foundation for his later artistic practice. In the documentary Victor Lundy, Sculptor of Space, Lundy said, "Drawing is linked with my thinking. When I think thoughts, I draw thoughts." His time serving in the 26th Infantry Division enforced this mentality. Drawing became an unconscious action for him, hastily capturing his surroundings as he and his compatriots marched, jotting down events that stood out to him in order to process them.
We heard the shooting in the distance, and we knew that something had transpired. And when we went there was this dead German lying there, and in the trench where one of our guys had been was empty. They had captured him, and his boots were there, and you could see blood in the snow.
After the war ended, Lundy was awarded a Roach Traveling Scholarship from the Boston Society of Architects. This gave him the opportunity to return to Europe for the first time since his deployment. Lundy recorded these experiences overseas in sketchbooks, just like he did during the war.
The Roach trip was the defining moment in my life. I wasn't seeking anything. All I did was experience, respond, react, draw, paint, making marks. That's part of how I think.
Although Lundy's World War II sketchbooks are often overlooked, they provide the most honest depiction of life on the front lines. There was a lot of time waiting and traveling, punctuated by haunting brushes with death and violence. Soldiers forged deep connections and carried their fallen brethren in their memories, and in Lundy's case, in his breast pocket. Although he has since passed on, Lundy's sketches at war allow viewers to connect with him and the rest of the 26th Infantry Division. He's given us the opportunity to feel what they felt and see what they saw, and thanks to his work, we'll never forget the sacrifices they made.
I must say, I've never heard of a tribute to the ASTP guys. We were sort of replacements. In the beginning, we were treated with sort of disrespect. You college boys, what do you know, all of that sort of stuff. But I think it was pretty amazing that we, with really inadequate training for what we were supposed to do, if not for the experienced sergeants, whose portraits I include in the sketches, would have been in bad shape.